I talked to Steve already.
All right, we're recording. Who's kicking it off? Me?
Go ahead, Bob.
All right. Welcome to week
26.
26. Sounds like a good one of the Master Chatter. This week we have Andy Timm and Jason Grubb joining us. Andy was the top American qualifier in Legends in the 40 to 44 category. Jason Grubb, not only last year's 40 to 44 CrossFit Games champ, but this year's 45 to 49 top qualifier in the Legends online qualifier. Both guys headed to Phoenix December 10th to 13th for the Masters Legends Masters Championship.
Congratulations. That's great news. Get on up to the next division, you know?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right?
Anyway, yeah, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Anyways.
Right, with that, Justin, I'll kick it over to you. Everybody knows who we are. We don't need a round of introductions.
Yep, Master Chatter. So, yeah, guys, welcome. It's always great to have, master athletes, we get a chance to talk to and find out what they're up to. We know, Andy, this is the first time I'm meeting you or hearing your name, so to speak, but you're a little younger than us. So, that's one of the things I think is funny about CrossFit. We kind of just know the people in our division and when they're coming in the division, so to speak, in a lot of ways. Right. Andy, we always ask people, tell us about yourself, give us a quick spiel, how you got into CrossFit, your background, just so we can get an idea of, who we're talking to.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's really appreciate it. Bob reached out, so thank you. It's awesome. So, I was a gymnast my whole life. I'm a triplet, actually. So when I turned 40, I have a brother and sister that also turned 40. So we all kind of grew up a lot of sports, but I stuck with gymnastics and competed in college at Arizona State. And so went really well there. That was fun. And then after that, I just did like the whole lifting thing. I'm still in the gymnastics world of my life. I work for AAI in Spalding. So I'm the West Coast sales manager for American Athletic, which is like the gymnastics manufacturer of the U.S. We're the Olympic provider, NCAA. I tell CrossFitters we're like the Rogue of gymnastics.
Right.
So since Rogue is really right, it's pretty awesome. So and then I'm the Spalding side too, so I'll run all the Spalding side. So that's my day-to-day life. I'm actually on the road. I'm in a hotel today, in California actually, and. So I travel a good amount, a lot less now. But anyways, about CrossFit, my brother Joe started before me. He was at Brick. He was kind of started kind of right after it started. And he was on one of Brick's teams for like 2 years that made it to the games. And he kept telling me, he's like, you got to do it, man. He's like, because I was still doing a little bit of gymnastics for fun and then still working out. And first day I went in, I was totally hooked. It was awesome. I remember it was the year right before 7 minutes of burpees. And so it was like 3 weeks. I started CrossFit 3 weeks before that opened, right? And I was all excited. I was like, it was a newer gym in Georgia. We were in Georgia at the time, and I was all pumped thinking I was going to do really good. And I'll tell you guys, about 2 minutes into that workout, I wanted to walk out the door, just because it was so humbling, right? Because you actually, you see scores online. It was like the first online competition of what CrossFit, really hard it was, right? And so I was hooked, because it was just so hard, and as you guys know, it's just the competition is great. And so and as I've been competing in Arizona I did the last 4 years of regionals on a team. Always made it close individually myself to regionals, but never made it. And then got to do team, which was so awesome at East Valley CrossFit. Which we had a team a lot of years, and fortunate to have a big box and a good, good group of guys and girls to feed off of, right? It was all about girls, kind of. So anyways, I'm rambling on. So, and then I was, been doing the age group qualifier for a while. Haven't done a lot of individual comps since my kid a few years ago, but was pumped for 40, and I came back from vacation and jumped in on this comp. So, and it was awesome. So I think it's all about motivation. As we get into it, right? I think it's all about motivation, as you guys know, as you guys have been doing it for so long, and it's fun to be motivated right now. So
yeah,
that's
for
where
sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, you got an interesting story, like all of us, but Go ahead, man.
Well, thank you, Justin. Started, I was a gymnast in high school as well, Andy. I actually started gymnastics when I was in like 5th, 6th grade, and found myself doing really well. I really had a knack for it, did well through like freshman year in high school. Then stuff got really hard, dude. Really, really hard stuff. So, gymnastics went from like kind of a fun competitive sport to really scary stuff on the high bar. And I just didn't have the nerve to do it. I just got scared, slightly injured and scared. So as a junior, I quit and I started working, and money was essential. I had a pretty poor family. So if I wanted a car, I had to work. And from like age 17 till about 37, I tried to stay relatively fit, but relatively fit. It was an effort to just not get fat, to get thick. My family is, the genetics just are thick in my family. So it was a battle that entire time to just try not to get thick. And I was well on my way. And around age 37, I'm a guy that would run like 5 miles, 5-6 miles a few times a week, but also drink like 3 or 4 IPAs sometimes a day, or like every few days, a handful of IPAs, with pizza and chips and ice cream. And it was just, I couldn't figure out why I wasn't losing weight at the time. Running miles and miles. And I actually got invited to a CrossFit class with a friend of mine who'd been pestering me about doing CrossFit. And I remember for years, couple of years, I would just say like, I don't need anyone to show me what to do. Like, I know what I'm doing. I run, I burn a ton of calories running, but a CrossFit gym was running a promotion. Like, she got a free month if I joined or something like that. So I went to a class. There was like 4 people in the class, and there was handstand push-ups in the workout. So they were scaling it for me, and I was like, oh, I can do handstands, because I had always been able to do handstands since I was a gymnast. And they're like, okay, well, show me. And so I kicked up to a handstand, and they thought I was a god. And that was enough to stroke my ego. I was like, okay, I'm in. How do I sign up for this thing? Because you do handstands. Like, we did handstands and like some sort of chin over the bar hold for a long time, like that we did in like this physical fitness test in elementary school. And I actually didn't join that gym. I joined a gym that was a little bit closer to home and just started doing it. And I was immediately addicted to this whole process. Everyone around me at this gym was so fit, and I thought I was fit. I can run like an 8-minute mile for like 5 miles. I could do that as a thick guy. But I remember my first actual CrossFit class, not like a testing class, a real class. I'm pretty sure it was like power cleans and burpees. And it was 3 rounds of like 15 and 15. And the coach came up to me and was like, okay, Jason, this is how you do a power clean. And in the burpees, let's go ahead and do 2 rounds and just see how you feel. I'm like, dude, I'll do 3 rounds. I'll be fine. And finished the second round, bent over, dying, like absolutely dying, amazed at what people around me were doing, especially this for lack of better words, this bigger woman. And I'll explain why I'm saying that. This bigger woman was next to me, and through my peripherals, she's killing me. And I'm like, what? How is this woman killing me right now? And I finished the workout, and I finished 2 rounds. About the time she finishes 3 rounds. And she wasn't a bigger woman. She was a pregnant woman with twins. It crushed me in the workout. So again, my ego was just crushed, but I was amazed at like how all these people were just so fit. Like, and this was a gym in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado, with people mostly like our age. Like, these are grown adults that are fit as all get out. So I was like a fairly competitive human being and just wanted to figure out how to do this. So I started 6 days a week. I didn't miss a class. Went a little bit berserk, got hurt pretty early on, calmed down a little bit, and then did my first competition at about the 9-month mark. It was a local competition, and I didn't get last place. I got like 6th out of 20 people, and that was it. I was hooked. I'm gonna compete in this thing. I love it. Started to change my diet, my focus. Turned 40 and was like, all right, I want to try to go to the games. So tried to qualify for a number of years, finally made it in 2018. And that's where I met Justin. I met Mike at the games that year. And again, at top 20, got to go that year. And I just didn't want to be 20th. If I could just be like 19th, that would be amazing. And the way the ball bounced that particular weekend, I got 4th. And then there was a drug issue with the 2nd place guy. So I bumped up to 3rd place that year. And then remember going back home to the gym and people were like, man, you're totally going to go back next year. And I was like, you guys have no idea how hard it is to qualify. You have no idea. There is a very small chance that I will qualify next year. And then 2019, they cut the qualifiers down to 10. Super nervous. I stressed out huge about that. Snuck in 7th place through the qualifier. And then the weekend was just a really good weekend that favored everything that I'm good at. Long workouts in the sun, in the heat, grueling awfulness, which Bob, I hope Arizona, it's not going to be hot, but just keep them long, man. Just keep the workouts really long and I'm good. If I can catch you, you're in trouble. But that was kind of my history. Thick guy that got fit, and CrossFit just happens to be something that I ended up being really good at.
Yeah. Jason, you don't know Bob. Bob won't be programming anything over the open 12-minute mark.
Yeah. 3 minutes and super heavy, and that's
heavy.
This is not good.
He's gonna light your hair on fire with fucking 30 ring muscle ups and 225 snatches.
Yeah.
That's great. This is great.
So what I'm wondering about all that is, does that pregnant lady walk around telling everybody that she beat the CrossFit Games champ? Right?
I hope so.
That's really what it comes down to.
I hope so, because I mention her in every time I tell that story, and I don't know her name. Maybe she doesn't even exist, but that's the way I remembered it. Is that
it's going to be really messed up if she wasn't pregnant and she was just fat.
That would be bad. That'd be really bad. But I saw the babies. I saw 2 of them eventually in a stroller. So that's that. But yeah, it was just like it's how we all started this thing. It's fascinating when you see people that can do this stuff, and you're like, like 7 minutes of burpees. It's not going to be a problem. And 2 minutes in, you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but I'm dying right now. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always curious of the background. You guys both did gymnastics. I mean, how much of I don't want to say a head start, but how much of Jason even alluded to it, I mean, we've all had somebody come into the gym and they're like, yeah, I can do handstands. The first guy who told me he could do handstands was probably like 40 years old. So I was like, okay, kick up on the wall. He kicks up, his arms give out, he falls on his neck. I thought he broke his neck. And I said, dude, you said you could do handstands. He's like, oh yeah, back in high school, like 27 years ago, So, I mean, do you think the gymnastics and a lot of the concepts on how to use your hip and how to maintain tension and things like that gave you guys a little, maybe like an easier, like a step above some people that really even just to this day struggle with some of those concepts? Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's a huge skill work advantage. I mean, I think that's probably the motivation factor. You walk in, you're like, well, I'm really good at that aspect already. And I just didn't even know how to do a squat. I could barely, because we were wanting to be light in gymnastics, but 100%, being a gymnast going in, skill work aspect is really nice to have that background. Yeah. So, I mean, I did nothing with my legs squatting. I mean, it was awful in the beginning. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. I completely agree. I found myself, able to kip, teaching a kip and actually being able to do a kip, like a kipping toes to bar, a kipping pull up, a butterfly pull up, muscle up, a ring muscle up. Those things came much easier than anyone else that was starting at 30, around my age at the time, because we learned that as children in gymnastics. We learn how to use our body and to use it like a whip. I was actually just talking to a friend today, my physical therapist. My workout today had a bunch of strict pull-ups. And I was like, man, I can barely do weighted strict pull-ups. Like that's really hard for me. To do 4 sets of 8 weighted strict pull-ups, that's max effort with like a 15, 20 pound dumbbell between my legs. And he's like, man, really? I'm like, yeah, strict. I mean, I can do them, but my advantage and my strength is kipping, man. I can pop up a million butterfly pull-ups, chest to bar, all that's fine. But in the same way that Andy talked about, I remember when they were like, okay, put the PVC pipe over your head and squat. And I was like, okay. And the bar comes straight down. That hip and leg mobility and overhead mobility totally went away. If I had that mobility as a gymnast, I mean, I could do the splits, but that doesn't necessarily mean I could internally rotate my hips. So yeah, there was a huge deficit on that side of things. I had no idea how to squat. So gymnastics has always been a strength for me in CrossFit, and Olympic lifting has always been something I've had to work a ton on, because that just has never come naturally.
So Andy, now you did gymnastics in college at ASU, which I'm assuming is going to be a big time program for gymnastics. Is that?
It was. I mean, there's programs are losing their scholarships, but yeah, ASU is, now ASU is different, but they're still the top club program in the country, and
Okay.
they'll hold their own. I mean, there's only about 9 or 10 funded universities left men's gymnastics. 2 more got cut during this COVID, which is terrible. Minnesota and then Iowa. Both happened the last few months. So men's gymnastics in college, in universities, is really hurting. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of crazy, man. But
yeah.
So when you were there, was it a scholarship program and they moved it down to club, or they kept it in club?
So no, when I went there, it just had started club, and we still had a few scholarship guys left, but at that point on, we were club Title IX, one of those things that was great for women, but they should count, football differently, because they bring in revenue and they're counting scholarships, and it's unfortunate for other sports, wrestling, gymnastics, and stuff.
But I assume that you probably still had meets and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
you still compete against everybody else, still did championships, and you still got to go against, we weren't beating Oklahoma, but when we got to go out there and beat Air Force and Santa Barbara that were still completely scholarship, that was pretty awesome. And then we won collegiate championships, which is like club D2, so yeah, no, it's still a small, even then there was 15 fully funded programs, so they were already starting to drop, quite a bit. So
how would you compare the experience of, competing in those types of environments to competing at like regionals, for example?
Yeah, it was so fun doing team. I mean, definitely the team aspect. Traveling, did you guys do sports in college?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us, you get that team aspect, right? Whether you did in college or, that community program, right? I mean, it just was so fun, right? I think that's what kind of CrossFit gave, is like, you kind of felt like your athletic career has been extended, which probably is why all of us are sitting here today. And, you guys have all made the games, so you've kind of reached that level here, which is so awesome. So.
No question, Andy. I mean, it's exactly that. It's an extension of an athlete. That's why, what are our other options, really? I mean, like, I joke, it's the beer league softball game, or Bob's doing fantasy football,
soccer.
Kern's like, he's Pele. Kern got
I got a game at 10:40 tonight.
He's got a game tonight. He's gonna tear his ACL.
Yeah.
Hardcore. But I think it is that, and it's your teammates. And now the teammates are your box members. And that's why, not to like kind of like go off the subject or lead it into a different state kind of, but I think that's why when Glassman took away regionals, it really hurt things, because there was so much like box pride then, like, hey, this is my gym, and they go support their team. As soon as they started doing the sanctionals, these super teams started coming out, and I don't know. I think it hurt the community aspect that you see in a CrossFit gym, but I still think that the community atmosphere is there. It's just not kind of represented in the regional format like it was, So I really hope to see them bring something back like that. So Castro's brought up a bunch of changes, all right, and Jason alluded to one of them before, dropping the 10 people back to 20. So Andy,
Was that legit?
What's that?
Was that legit for next year? Is that the talk?
Yeah, I'm going to speak for Dave. I think that's official for sure. No, he definitely made. I think what he was saying is that he wants to go back to that format, but maybe some of the teen divisions, because they don't have as many people who actually do it, he's going to kind of base it off of participation, which makes sense. I could actually see 35 to 40, maybe even in the 35-year-old division, I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. I could even see 40 go to 25, depending on how they're going to run the logistics of it. But, Andy, you're bumping up next year into the 40. All right. So, it's a whole new opportunity in a sense. Top 20 gets you in. Does that motivate you to make a run at it?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think the last few years you kind of, we go through the motion sometimes, but but you're always going for it. The Open comes around, you're always excited. It's like, this is my year, right? So, no, I think the first year they did the Masters, I think when it was 20, I think I was like 29 or something. That was as close as I got on the Masters. So I was like, and then, that division's tough, man. I was excited to get out. It's definitely. Not all divisions are tough, right? But I'm definitely motivated for this year. As you can see me getting excited about it. And I think I haven't done an individual comp in like 2 years. So Legends is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm training hard, so I'm excited.
Jason, you won, and now you're bumping up a division, what's the thought process there? Has it been full throttle, or you kind of you said you were kind of, go ahead, tell me, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now I'm in your division again. So there's a number of things for me to be nervous about. I'm not going to lie. When I saw your time when you did your last hang squat clean at 285 for the Legends qualifier.
Oh, okay.
So I saw your time and I was like, well, I got to repeat. I guess I got to do it again. I got to go again. I didn't know your exact time. All I knew is that we were close and I was nervous about qualifying. And I was like, oh, I'm going to redo that one. Plus I went way too conservative the first time through.
Right.
I'm sure you didn't retest that. You're a rock star on all of those movements. But as far as the games, I'm very excited. I was in 13th for this year, and so with the top 10, I would not have gone to the games if the games were to happen this year. And I just had a bad weekend, and I think that's the only thing that I get nervous about is how much pressure I put on myself to try to qualify and go back again. It's we've got one shot and we've got to feel great that weekend. And if we don't feel great that weekend, it doesn't matter. You have to figure it out. And, on qualifier weekend this year, the entire weekend felt like a hangover. Something was up. I didn't feel good, but not only that, like I literally fired off the F-bomb violently out of my mouth at the end of every one of those workouts because I was mad at myself. I applied so much pressure on myself to try to qualify, and I wasn't doing the workouts the way I wanted to do them. And it wasn't fun. That wasn't fun at all. And at the same time, the world was shutting down. There was a lot of pressure, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So for me, going into this next age group and allowing for 20 athletes, ideally to qualify, it takes off just a smidge of that pressure. Like it's still ridiculously hard to be in the top 20 in any age group and qualify for the games. But my goal this year is to be happy, healthy. I'll probably quarantine myself for like 3 months prior to not really, but I might quarantine myself a little bit. Just so I'm sick that weekend. Like my kids, I'm always afraid they're going to get me sick that weekend. But I will definitely go in with a different mindset this year to enjoy that regional weekend or our qualifier weekend, because it's a really fun weekend. Like sending messages to Justin, like, hey, how did you approach that overhead squat workout? You're like, oh yeah, I just did it unbroken. Oh, okay. Jeb, how did you do it? Because like Justin's insane. How did you approach it, Jeb? And realize that we were all dying on that pull-up overhead squat workout. It was brutal. I love that camaraderie. And so I hope this year to just be reaching out to all you guys, being like, hey, so I don't need to know your score, but how's it going over there in wherever you're at? Because I'm dying here in Denver with these workouts. I likely will have that experience. And for me, I just love the camaraderie and being part of this community of masters, all trying to battle our way into that thing. With 20 spots, there's plenty of room for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. And Bob always brings this up too. He's like, there's not much difference between like 5 through, not honestly, I don't think there's much difference overall between 1 and 20. Jeb got in one year and he was like 20th and he almost sat on the podium.
Right.
Your the year you won the games, you took 7th.
Yeah.
And there you go on the podium. So I do think that it just, I don't know. I think it makes for a better competition when there's more people there. And I also think that you win, like I'm really interested to see how they're going to score the games with 5. Okay. Like if Frazier goes out there and wins the first 2 workouts or the first 3 workouts and they're doing 9, he's got a commanding lead unless the same person takes second or what, I don't know. Again, I don't know. Bob?
Even still with that, Justin, like the way they're doing that, it's like, 175, 50, 25, 0, right? Like it's kind of stupid, right? Like to your point, if Frazier or Tia come out and win the first 3 workouts, it's over.
Yeah, and I'm interested how they're going to score the CrossFit total, if it's going to be total or if it's going to be individual movements. But anyway, what's that?
How did they do it last time?
I don't know. I don't know.
Total.
Yeah,
it was total.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But okay. Let's say. But my point is that once you get to the event, like they're not going to test swimming. Okay. They're not going to test running in the qualifier. They're not going to test a lot of those things, the obstacle course, some of these things they just physically can't test in a way, So, if you're pretty good at some of those exercises, like, Jason said, there were a lot of longer workouts last year, and obviously, that's something that he's in his wheelhouse and he crushed them, good for him. He took advantage of the opportunity. Some people don't. Some people choke and don't do it, but I actually like the way they did the individual games online qualifier. Now, I don't think they're going to send us a judge, but I do think they should say like, hey, you got to do the workout from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Okay. Or you do workout 1 and 2 on this day. All right. Because like Jason said, I would have beat him, but he had to go back and do the workout again. You know what I'm saying? And like,
that's tough though. Well, I've never been home for an age group qualifier since
I understand that. I get
just because last year it's just brutal doing age group qualifiers on the road and boxes dropping in.
Yeah.
Right.
But totally. That's why I wish everyone could just do one and done. Because sometimes, man, I'm like, I got to squeeze it at 5 a.m. before regional championships, or whatever. It's been weird. It's just the weekends have been so bad for me the last few years, but I get it. It'd be nice because I think we all, I just followed in something else, but I think we all see people that are, well, whatever. I was going to say short reps, but it'd be nice to have, a way to have a little more judging for that stuff,
Yeah, but
I think what Bob did was some of the judging errors that I saw you adjusted with looked to be on par for what I saw. So I thought that judging for Legends was awesome. That you guys asked for everything and you went through everything, and and it was it's a pain in the ass, but it was great.
Yeah, it was painful, man. I can tell you.
So
Jason,
I just jumped
curious.
over all the place. So yeah.
Jason, I'm curious, like, how devastated were you that you did not make the top 10 this year? Like, is that just a mind fuck?
Yeah.
Knowing that you won it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was, at the same time, there was, I had to figure out how to live with myself. Because I was disappointed. But I also knew that I didn't have a great weekend. And I also was like, I'm 44, man. There's every year a new batch of Andys move into that 40-year-old age category. And man, every time a batch of 40-year-olds comes in there, they're just like, how am I going to beat any of these guys? Or how am I going to compete? Because it is there. I didn't think that would be a real big difference between 40 and like almost 45. But it's legit. It's legit, and I hate it. I am getting stronger in every way, but it's just hard. And everyone that comes up or ages up just seems so damn good that I was happy with the fact that I was 13th or 14th or whatever it ended up being. But I was definitely, after winning, of course, I wanted to have qualified. And so, to be like 1,000% transparent, when the age group was canceled for the year, I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't make it and they're not even having it. Okay. That's just full transparency. And I'm kind of an asshole for saying that.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I want to go. If there's a games and I'm not in it, I'm going to be a little bit upset. In fact, this is how mentally deficient I am in this. I went to watch the games in Madison in 2017. I don't know if any of you guys were competing. I did not go to watch the age group qualifiers. Not one time. I didn't walk into the age group tent because I was so upset that I didn't make it that year. I didn't even want to see you guys. If you guys were there, I didn't even want to sense what that would be like. I didn't want to walk into that place until I qualified and I got to go. And then when I qualified, I walked into that place. I was shaking with nervousness. It was the scariest thing I've ever done. But yeah, 2017, I went to the games. I toured everything except for the age group pavilion because I was so, I just didn't want to be that upset seeing everyone else competing and I didn't make it. And it wasn't even close that year, by the way. I was like 45th. I wasn't even close. So it was on me.
Well, so we're talking about guys aging up, right? We're all aware, Jason, that you're aging up into our age group, right? And the 40 to 44 guys, like, they're aware of the Andys and, and like guys like that.
They're probably not aware of me, but they will be.
They will be.
The guys that drive me nuts are the guys that come from like 190th, right? And then all of a sudden they age up and they're like world beaters, right? It's like, where the fuck did these guys come from, man?
Right?
I got it. You're on my radar. I know you're out there. You're one of the 20, right? Like, I don't need to worry about you.
Right.
These other guys that are going to drive me nuts all year. Right?
I know.
What age group are you guys all in?
We're all going to be in 45 to 49. Curtin, you're aging up, right?
I'm aging up, but not for Legends. I still got to go compete with Andy at Legends.
So you age up next year for
45 next year. But yeah, I'm CrossFit 45.
Yeah.
Right.
Legends 44.
CrossFit 45. That's great.
Yeah.
I think the expanding it to 20, the opportunity. I was just talking to Clint on a text message before. It's going to be really interesting to hear the layout coming for the new season, because let's say that they do the expansions due to the participation rosters, and by all stretch of imagination, the 40, I would assume 35, I think could exceed 20. All right. I think that's possible. All right. I think 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, I don't know much about participation numbers above that, but let's just say that those categories are going to bump up into the 20s, all right. Obviously, gets the opportunity for more athletes to be there. Okay. All right. CBS is covering what, Saturday this year?
Yeah.
This Saturday they're covering, not this Saturday, the following Saturday they're covering. I wonder what the extent will be. It'll be curious to see if Castro comes back for the announcements, because the announcements last year were pretty laughable. Okay, quite frankly, So like, what is the next step for Masters in a sense? Is it competitions like Bob Jennings running, or is it the games just getting better and going back to getting coverage and getting all these things that it deserves? Is there going to be I don't want to say a sideshow, but is there going to be a side league going on for Masters? Jason, what would you like to see happen? If you had a little,
yeah, I love in-person competition. I love it so much. So I hope for both. I hope that there's, 2 or 3 big Masters competitions outside of the games. With the games, of course, just whatever, the games will always have that feeling, that huge component, the biggest thing. But I'm grateful to be heading to Phoenix in 8 weeks. I'm thrilled. I've got a little back problem right now, and so I was with my physical therapist today. I'm like, hey, we got to get this fixed, because I've got a competition in 8 weeks, and it's, for me, like, that's the CrossFit Games this year in my mind. Rented a house, got the whole crew come in, like it's a big deal. And I would love to see that continue. Whatever the one that was in Indiana, the one in Phoenix, and the games would be a fantastic cycle, so that we're not killing ourselves, and we got to be ready for the Open. We got to be ready for the qualifier and all of that. But if there's a handful of in-person competitions that we can participate in, and the thing I like about Legends in particular versus, say, like Wadapalooza. So I went to Wadapalooza this year, super fun, really great to see some of us there. Hung out with Jeb a lot. He and I were scheming about strategy before and after every workout, of course. And that was really, really fun. But we were again kind of that, we're there, but it's really like we're the sideshow, I guess, there. So going to like the Legends competition, and we're the stars of the show. The Masters athletes, that's what it's for. That shit's exciting to me, really exciting. So my vote is, let's keep both, because it makes the entire year really fun.
Andy, have you done a lot of individual competitions? I know you did a lot of teams, and I know you said that you've done the Open and stuff, but have you done like a Wadapalooza or like the Fittest Games or Granite Games as an individual, or is Legends going to be your first run at it?
Yeah, no, I did Granite Games twice. The first year they had Masters. I didn't remember what I finished. My goal was top 10, and I got in top 10. It was 35, oh no, the first year I went I did individual RX. That's what it was. This was like before Masters. Right. Yeah, my goal was top 10. So they had the games division, they had RX. And that was tough. That was fun. That was my first individual away comp, Minnesota. And I just remember the last day, the second to last day was a 5K in the morning to run. And, I think I'm okay at running, not when you're with a bunch of fit people. I mean, I got like 45 out of 63rd, and I was in top 10 all weekend. And I dropped out going into Sunday. I was so pissed.
That was 2014, right?
Yeah, I think so. I gotta.
Yeah, it was 5K run.
Yeah,
I did it. I was there.
The next day was the handstand push-ups sprint in the hockey room. The strict handstand push-up sprint.
Yeah. And every time you came off the wall, you had to run back to the then they had the clean ladder was the last workout.
Yeah, and so but after that, I won the next one and got in, and I made it to finals, and then I got buried on the cleans, I think, in finals. But anyways, it was super exciting. And then I did Granite Games again. I did Masters. I kind of had the same feeling. Actually, you guys were just talking about, like, I was kind of like it was fun. I got beat up. My back was destroyed. The programming that year, whatever it was just like, it was awful. It was like so many. I just remember a lot of dumbbell snatch squat cleans and a lot of squat cleans. I was destroyed, and it wasn't fun because, like what you guys said, you felt like kind of the side pony.
Yeah.
There. So, and then
Justin and I were there that year too.
what were you?
Yeah. Remember?
And then I did individuals in Arizona. Like I used to compete all over the place, like locally, so.
Bob, you were there, you said?
Yeah,
What?
remember, Justin, that was that year that we had the 100 dumbbell
No, it wasn't.
matches.
That was the next year.
Uh,
I know for a fact. Yeah, that was the year Jonas Gombarnik was in it, and this guy Jason Hatch. We were all on the podium. I remember that.
all right.
Anyway,
Oh,
but I
my
mean,
God.
Andy. So is
Yeah.
this going to be like your first big time master competition outside of the Granite Games? I mean.
Oh yeah, I mean, first individual comp, and I mean, since regionals, my first. Yeah, I mean, I did. Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah. Since
Yeah, I
then.
think Jason. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
I think Jason brought up a really good point. Is that this is just like a masters comp, and that they're the stars. So to speak. Oh, I don't know about that. I think that's a really cool part of masters. And another thing is that, like you said, Andy, you did a competition and the workouts were crazy. It's really good, and I'm going to stroke Bob's ego here a little bit, but it's really good when you have someone who kind of understands what a 3-day, 2-day competition needs to be written like. Anybody can, and we could all write a workout that's going to kill people, and that's easy. But are you going to be able to, challenge them, but still allow them to perform on the next day and on the next day when they're giving maximal efforts, So, it's not going to be like you go to Bob's gym, has a competition, and he throws in 30 muscle ups with weighted pistols, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it happens. We've all seen it, So I think that's another really important part about a good competition is that the workouts are accommodating to the athletes in the sense of that they can perform them, but perform them well, So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, that is like one of the most important things that I think about when I put together the programming for the championship was like, not only like, is this individual workout going to be fun, but the order of them and how they impact the athletes throughout the course of the weekend. So, people aren't like dead at the end, right? Or can't perform or getting injured and dropping out, right? Like, I don't want to see that. And so I would say like some of the workouts I scaled back a little bit from my original thought, but just because of this volume over the course of the weekend. I had a call with a guy in the 60 plus yesterday. Because like, I feel like I know when I program these workouts, I think about them from a 45-year-old male perspective, right? Like that's easy to do for me, right? And I was really worried that that the 60-year-olds or really the 55 plus were just going to get absolutely destroyed over the course of this weekend. And so I had a call with this guy, Dave Hardy, who I don't know if any of you guys know him. He was at the games last year. But 60 plus, he injured his quad, and so he's not going to be able to compete. And I gave him the workouts and gave him a couple of days to give me feedback on them. It was actually kind of interesting. He's not really a barbell guy. He's more of a, I guess he's more like you, Jason, right? Like more kind of a longer workout, likes to run, all that kind of stuff. And virtually every workout, he was like, no, you got to raise the weights up here. You got to raise the weights up here for all the 60-year-olds, man. And I was like, well, he's not competing, so I guess that's why he doesn't really give a shit. But
he wants to see him buried.
yeah,
Bury the competition.
He's trying to get them all crushed so they don't, they're not doing the age group qualifier next year, I guess. But
that's a huge part.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
Interesting. Like trying to program for a weekend like that. with the diversity of a 35-year-old versus a 60-year-old, like that's got to be a huge challenge. And hats off to you, Bob. The Legends qualifier was a legit set of workouts. In my mind, they felt age group qualifier like this. These weren't easy. Every one of them. Like I spent time thinking about how am I going to approach this? What's my backup plan? What if I fail this? What if I can't get through this? How am I going to handle this? 200 feet of handstand walking? Dude, that was, and I can walk on my hands for days. Yeah. But 200 feet of handstand walking after 140 reps or whatever of work we did, that was really a fun way to approach that. Like I was really surprised when I got on my hands the first time on that. I was like, oh, we're in trouble. Okay, this is going as planned. This is what they're planning. This is what Bob was thinking. And I think about, like you said, programming through a weekend so that we're not just hobbling around on the last day. Because we have experienced that at the games in 2019. We did this 6K rucksack run, right? And I remember Justin was like, he walked up and said, hey, make sure you pull those straps up real high. Otherwise, it's going to tear your back apart. Thank you, by the way, because that made the whole event. It was no big deal, except that I couldn't walk up or down stairs for 4 days. And that was day one. And I couldn't walk that night. My quads were so dead. And then the year before that, first day of workouts, we had like 100 dumbbell front squats. That's not a big deal, except that the next day we couldn't walk. No one could walk the next day, right?
That was the worst workout. That's the second worst workout I ever did at games. That 1 RM and then 2 rounds of row, ski, dumbbell front squat. That was fucking stupid.
I mean, to go unbroken on 50 front squats with dumbbells in your hands and cross that line, just laying on the ground, knowing that you've just made a huge mistake. Your weekend is going to be messed up. And it was like, we're all trying to kind of maybe roll out our quads the next morning and just sweating bullets, just laying on the ground. But it's, Bob, that's got to be fun and challenging. And then the day of, like, there's no turning back. We're just going to do it. Whatever you say, that's it.
It is a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I'm nervous about it though, right?
Of course. Of course.
I'm trying to sneak in certain people that I know that aren't coming, like, hey, can you test this out? Let me know how, what you feel like. And because I'm testing out a lot of the workouts too, but it's different though, right? When you test it out in your gym, there's no pressure. You're not going at 100%, right? And you're not going, 2 workouts a day at completely balls out, right? And so I sit there, I worry about that every day, right?
There's that element, and then the other element is like the puzzle that we're all trying to always figure out as the athletes, and this having competed, is now when we do something crazy in the morning, we're trying to maximize our recovery so that we can do something in the afternoon and then maximize our recovery so the next day we could still stand upright and like jump and run or whatever, swim, if you call it land swimming. So I guess we'll be doing that.
Yes. Yeah. That's because I got a million emails like, hey, are we swimming this year?
Right.
And my initial reply to everybody was like, there's no ocean swim, right? Because it's in Arizona, right?
Right.
Then I got kind of tired of that, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I'll just tell everybody that they're land swimming, right?
I mean, I almost responded to that email saying, hey, I don't see it here, but are we swimming? Because swimming, it's like the scariest thing on the planet for me. So I'm going to practice if we are swimming.
Nah, not this year, man.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too. Probably not next year either. But hey, slight change of course here. Andy, one of the things that you told us in your bio that you didn't bring up earlier that I thought was pretty cool was you created the handstand walk obstacle course with Castro for regionals. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, so the company I worked for, AI, it was, so we had the gymnastics market. So it was one of my goals with my work. I was in CrossFit. I was like, man, it'd be great to get a product into the CrossFit Games, So that was a long time process. I worked hard to get a meeting with Dave Castro. Took like 2 years or so. I don't know what it was. And finally got him to meet me face to face. Told him I have these ideas. I showed him a few things, and he flew down, met me in person, and I got like a deserted building and brought a bunch of products, and we checked them out. and figured out. I helped him figure out what we So it was awesome. Yeah, and then I got to compete on it at regionals that year, which was really cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Had a
Yeah,
little-
and
had a
so that my
little
worlds
prior
came together,
knowledge
you
there.
know. Yeah, and I couldn't tell anybody about it, you know, even though I had the products at my house, right? But I mean, what could you do, right? Because I made them, but it was team, right? So it's a little different. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. So, you know, we still have a good relationship. I mean, I talked to him. I mean, Rogue's their guy, but I mean, we have the best gymnastics padding mats, and we'll always hope to be there for any time you need some handstand stuff. And we
So
will
it's
be.
like the
Yeah.
step stuff, the ramp, right? Did you come up with the whole parallel bar thing too?
Yeah, it was kind of all part of the initial concept. Kind of showed him ideas that like that day that was the ramp and that, and I prototype and I brought the bars and say, you know, maybe this for regionals, this the games, and you know, and there's some other things there too, you know, as like plans for, you know, things and yeah, that was the direction, and it was all his call with what he wanted to go with. But I just tried to give him thoughts and ideas, and then he ultimately made the call. So yeah.
Andy, I got a quick question for you too. I mean, I know you said that the college level gymnastics is kind of fading off, but do you see or do you hear at all that the youth programs are getting bigger because of parents, maybe, you know, CrossFit parents getting their kids involved in gymnastics, or what, maybe they're just teaching themselves, but is there any kind of influx into the youth program at all, or is gymnastics just kind of struggling in general?
Yeah, no, gymnastics was doing well. I mean, the Olympics, COVID crushed a ton of stuff. I mean, there's probably a list of 150 gymnastics clubs that have closed in the US since COVID. And I'm not exaggerating, with city, state, and name, and it's terrible. Women's gymnastics is doing great. There's still 100 plus, you know, that stuff. They sell out very well. Guys, still the best guys in the country are competing in college for the most part, except for a few outliers that are done with college. They still have the best guys in college, but obviously not as many. But yes, I mean, I think gymnastics numbers were probably at a pretty good high. I mean, gymnastics was doing well, I think, as a sport, especially as like a funnel of at least like, hey, it's a great thing for your kids to do for motor development, at least until they're, you know, 7, 8, and then go off and do whatever you want to do, right? Because it's just so good for you. And so I think the CrossFit thing, yeah, I think all that stuff helped. CrossFit, weightlifting, gymnastics. I mean, most CrossFitters I know put their kids in gymnastics and that stuff. So I think youth-wise, I think it's great. Ninja is really popular right now, and that's really kind of marketed over to the gymnastics. So a lot of gyms are kind of using that, you know, as a platform. But COVID's been devastating, you know, just like fitness clubs. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Bob, no ramps at Legends, right, Bob?
No, man, no ramps at Legends. I
right,
wish
good.
I'd known this earlier, that this is what Andy did, because
I want one for my garage for sure.
Yeah, I'll take one at home, but yeah, when
Hey,
they
what do
show up
those
in
things
competition,
cost?
I get buried on them. I never
You know-
made it back on that one workout in 2018.
Yeah.
Wall balls. I got over wall ball and I just hung out there. I was like, fuck
I'm
this.
still trying to get over that ramp again.
yeah, I usually on that thing like once a week.
I watched all you guys do that workout. I went and watched that at the games and watched the wall balls, the fast one backing over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't too fast. I think I like broke my shoulder on that thing coming down. I was like, holy shit.
And that
Yeah.
was the first workout, right? That
Yeah.
year?
No, it was
Second
we
one.
had the
Second.
obstacle course and then that one.
Oh, then that. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's when Grubb beat me on the obstacle course. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back to my scouting report on this guy. I didn't know yeah.
I was the on that obstacle course. I remember I was running super fast on the run. I was in front with like David Johnston, and I remember like in my head I hear Patrick Vellner, or I hear someone from one of the games things like, whoever, you know, when you are way out in front, you've made a huge mistake. I felt that. I was like, whoa, let's back off on this run. I let David go first, and then it was a great first workout because we had all the adrenaline, and you could just kind of do all of that except for the rope swing thing and like not
Yeah.
that. On the handstand walking one, that obstacle, I was so happy. Again, I can walk on my hands forever. I got across that thing and threw like 5 air balls in a row on the wall ball. I could not hit the target to save my life. So like 25 wall balls later, now I'm crippled and walking my way back across in 5th place or 6th place or something. But yeah, I just can't do wall balls. I can walk on my hands, but I can't hit a target. So there we go.
All right. There's your scouting report, Kern.
I know. Yeah, I got to get a scouting report on Andy, though. That's the thing. I got to deal with Andy in December.
No gymnastics. I don't like gymnastics at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I took 3rd in that workout. That was a 30-pound wall ball, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I took 3rd.
Guess who bought a 30-pound wall ball after that workout?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Kern, I got about an hour's worth of tape on Andy that could be yours.
I know. You got to release. Everybody signed that release on their video submissions. Open them up.
Clint's pretty tight-lipped too. He kind of leaked that I did a surprise workout, and I was like, "Oh, Legends one." He's like, "Yeah." So I know Clint's testing some of them out.
Clint may or may not be testing some of them out.
I see. All right.
It's neither confirmed nor denied. The best thing about Clint is he doesn't say anything, so I don't have to worry about it.
When do you normally release them? Is that like a week or something before or 2?
Yeah, probably like a week before. We might do it a little bit earlier this year because of COVID, and I'm kind of toying around with like, instead of doing like a full athlete briefing, like doing an athlete briefing via Zoom or something. Like there's so much COVID shit I have to deal with. That
Yeah,
kind of
a good idea.
like just even dealing with the city, right? Like I had to submit this plan where, like even though we're outside, no more than 50 people will be together in one place at a time. So I've created these like in the tent city, kind of like tent city neighborhoods, basically, where like only 50 people can be in there. And, I'll have like a bouncer basically sitting at the gate, letting people in. I mean, it's stuff you wouldn't really think that you would ever have to deal with,
Bob, how concerned are you with all the cases going on?
That's the other thing that freaks me out every day, right? I literally check the Arizona cases every single day. So they had 734 new ones yesterday. And like I dig into Maricopa County, which is, Phoenix, right? But 734 is actually not bad for them. Like they're not, well, Andy would know better, right?
If Phoenix, if they did anything to shut us down, I think it would be a big surprise. I mean, where Phoenix is pretty open. You'd be, besides people having to wear a mask, I mean, you'd be surprised that COVID's going on.
Yeah. What gym do you go to, Andy, in Phoenix?
East Valley.
Okay.
East Valley.
Is
in gonna have home cooking out there? Jesus,
Yeah, home cooking. I'm gonna drive each day, but it'll be like 40 minutes, I think. But yeah, home cooking.
A little sugar in the gas tank.
Yeah.
Andy missed his heat. Andy missed his heat.
Yeah.
When did you open? You opened up a box, right, Jason?
I did open up a box 4 years ago, 5 years ago, but then I sold it a year ago, about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
And where do you guys live? I know we're kind of talking about us. I'd love to hear where are you guys all at? Jason, you're Denver.
I'm in Denver. Yep.
Bob, I know you're Southern.
Yeah, I'm San Diego. Yep.
I'm in Jersey.
New York.
Jersey,
New York.
Okay.
I'm in Boston.
All right. Go Red Sox.
Boston, yeah, over there.
I know.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Are you
The
guys all coming
Patriots.
out? Is everyone coming out to Legends?
Everybody.
I plan on. Yeah, I have every intention of being out there.
Yep. Flights booked, hotels booked.
Yeah, I'm staying with Kern. I
I got COVID out of the way last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I tested positive. It sucked, but I'm done. So we're good. It's just be done with it. And I actually thought I thought maybe I had it on the age group qualifier weekend because of just how bad I felt that weekend. But no, it was a nasty cold. And then a week of taking it easy. And last week, good to go. This week, here we go. Just doing strict pull-ups.
So COVID wasn't all that bad for you, huh?
It wasn't. And I mean, it affects everyone differently, obviously. Yeah. For me, it was, I just felt like I didn't feel good one day. And I took like a 2.5 hour nap. And that's like, if I take a nap, I'm sick for sure. So
Yeah.
actually a buddy of mine was sick earlier in the week. So I texted him, I was like, hey, it was like my physical therapist, like, hey, are you better? And he was like, actually, I was just going to text you. I tested positive for COVID. I'm like, I got it. I have it for sure. So I went and got a test. 2 days later, I was positive. So I quarantined myself in the basement for that week, really for 10 days total, but it didn't work out for a week.
Yeah.
I had a little fever and just felt kind of yucky for a day or two. And then just a kind of a slow recovery. The only thing that really stuck for about a week, maybe 10 days, was fatigue. I have never hit 100% sleeping on my Whoop. If any of you have Whoop, like sleeping the full 8 or 9 hours or whatever it wants me to sleep had never happened. And then I hit it like 9 days in a row of full sleep. It was the weirdest thing. Like I could just sleep until 9 in the morning every day. The only thing that's still here, and today's Monday, right? So I'm really 2 weeks post symptoms. I lost my sense of taste and smell about 10 days ago. And that sucks. Like I can't taste anything.
Has that come back yet, Jason, or no?
It has not come back yet. Although I smelt, it's weird because it comes and goes a little bit. Like 2 nights ago, I smelled someone barbecuing and I was like, oh, I can smell, I'm good. And then I ate dinner that night and there's just nothing. I got nothing. I can salt it. I can't, like I can put my face in a bag of coffee and I cannot smell it. So it's the fact that I smelled a barbecue that night was promising, but basically eating when you can't smell anything is totally not fun. It's just boring. It's a good diet plan. If you have any people that you're training and they need a diet plan, remove their sense of taste and smell, like, because then you're just like eating for texture. There's nothing, like chips don't taste.
Oh, Cardinals just scored again.
Oh, come on.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we all have a mutual friend that got it pretty bad, and he's never, I don't think we should share his name because I don't think he's ever really talked about it publicly, but like he was down and out for weeks, man, and like really got hit hard, dropped from like 210 down to 185, right? I mean, it's weird how this disease hits people very differently, and then I know this other guy, Pete Paskey, who you'll have the misfortune probably of meeting at Legends. He's in the 45 to 49 division. He got it around the same time that you did, and same thing, no taste or smell. Still to like this day, no taste or smell.
Yeah, it's a weird symptom. I had a cold when I was a kid, and I had something that caused me to lose my sense of taste and smell. And it's just the weirdest thing when you walk upstairs and I was in the basement and there's bacon on the counter, cooked bacon, and I'm like, oh,
right.
That's it. I can't smell it. That's weird because I don't even like to cook bacon in the house. I like to cook bacon outside. I don't like strong smells, and if I can't even smell the bacon, I'm out.
Yeah. That's a bummer, man.
But it could be weeks. I've heard some people, it could be months before they taste again. But
wow,
it's all right. I only eat chicken and rice and broccoli anyway. It's basically all I eat.
Yeah, it's got no taste to begin with.
Doesn't even matter. There's nothing exciting in my diet.
All right, guys. Well, we're over our usual hour. Unless Clint, Justin, Mike, you guys got anything else?
Go Cowboys.
Bob, I 2 things. Actually, one thing for these guys. Jason, I think you did it. Just out of curiosity, you did the handstand hold, the one they did at the game. Andy, being a gymnast, did you try out that freestanding handstand hold?
Yeah, we did it. We did it after a workout that morning. It was like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay. Yeah. What about you? You were a minute 30?
Minute 30.
We did a Metcon right before. I mean, it's tough. I love looking at people's times when they were asking people to guess times and they're like 8 minutes, Matt Frazier. And I'm like, the best gymnast in the world, like 8 minutes is going to be like, Dave Durani's best time right now is 8 minutes freestanding.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think like I would hope for like a 2:30, like, right. I mean, fresh best day. Like I think 2 minutes, my arms were falling off,
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. None of those, Bob,
What
right?
about-
We're throwing that right out, right?
Weird stuff, man.
No. All right. Bob, the Heats, because this is really like a scouting report, scouting
Yeah.
trip for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scouting out the 45 while I'm getting my ass kicked by the 40-year-olds. Are the Heats going? Do I have to are 40 going before or after 45?
45s go first.
So I got to watch it while I'm warming up or whatever. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you won't be able to see it, man, because you're going to be segregated.
Oh, so you're killing me. Hey,
Yeah, I know. I'm doing it on purpose.
we need a TV in the warm-up area. Like, don't worry about warming up. I just got to be in the TV.
Here's
I'm
the
gonna
deal,
have a good
though.
time with Mike. I can tell already.
You'll be able to watch the full live stream
All right.
afterward.
Afterwards.
Our live stream partner. who
All right.
I can't announce yet, but will be.
Oh.
soon.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's going to be a live stream. That's
Yeah.
the people that want to watch us. I mean, that's just awesome to be able to have something like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and hopefully, if everything lines up right, it's going to be like full legit games live stream. With Sean and somebody else doing the play-by-play, and so it'll be cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, we just a couple things need to line up here in the next week or so, but yeah.
Hey,
All
right,
thank you.
boys.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be with you guys.
Oh, likewise, man. Yeah,
Thank
Did you hear that? You hear that, Richard? Did you hear that, Richard?
I hear it.
No. Clint doesn't think we have any fans. We don't have fans. You know what it is though? It's fun for us in a lot of ways to meet a lot of you guys. I mean, Jason and Bob and Kern and obviously Clint. It is that camaraderie. It is like, hey, I feel comfortable that I can reach out to this person about how they did their workout or how they went about it. I mean, me and Jason have a funny story. I think is last year, he sent me a message or I sent him a message. I forget which way it went. And I was like, did you get paid yet? And be like, no, I haven't got fucking anything, no money. I mean, it was like 6 months, and it was like,
I was of course, like anyone else. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm sure I'm clean on the drug test. I know I am, but I'm sweating this thing for 6 months. Like, what if Ascent Protein like tarnished their?
Yeah.
I don't take anything else. That's it. But it was still scary. Always. Did you get your money? No. 6 months. No, I actually just like 3 weeks ago, like made sure all the taxes were paid on all that. So.
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Well, it's
Guys,
awesome having you on.
Thank
Good.
you.
All right. Look forward to see you guys.
Have fun at soccer tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
See you soon.
See you guys.
See you soon. Oh, man.